He makes a positive difference in people's lives, which is something we should all strive to do in our lifespan. So give it up for a wonderful, talented, humble human being. Last name Jansen, first name Dan. Welcome Dan Jansen to the celebrity tournament, my friend.
He should be under 17 seconds to really have a shot in this race, and he is. Jansen at 16:71. Dan Jansen looks good to be in the lead. Here is Dan Jansen, and he crosses it. 1:12.43, and he's in first place.
Thank you, Avi. What a pleasure. I don't know what to say after that. You rap, you do it all, and you managed to get it all in. So thank you so much. It's my honor and pleasure to be here.
You're here to win the entire thing, my friend?
You know what? Of course. I mean, look, I preach doing your best. I preach all that. But if you don't actually want to win, you don't have anything to strive for and to set goals for. So yeah, darn right, I want to win this thing.
Mr. Dan Jansen will hopefully explain which former colleague of his that he shared a locker room with would make the ideal co-star alongside yourself in a buddy road trip comedy. If you could explain the person and the title of the film that you would co-star in, are you ready to go, good sir?
I'm ready. So mine is, it's an interesting one. So my co-star, I'll describe both of us and then you'll understand. My co-star happened to have been my coach. His name's Peter Miller.
My name's Peter Miller.
Pete won a gold medal in 1976.
It's a special feeling and something I'll never forget, goosebumps. So it's something I wish everybody could experience.
And coincidentally, the very same race that I was to win gold in 1994. He was when I first made the U.S. national team, he was coach then, albeit young. He only about 10, 12 years older than I. But and then went away to coach other countries, other skaters. By my request and a couple others, we brought him back for the last 3 years of my career. So he ended up being my first and last coach internationally. But to understand Pete, he's a very interesting character. He is unbelievable coach, unbelievable motivator. He makes it fun to train. He makes it fun to hurt. You look forward to training every day, even though it's brutal sometimes. He I believe, has made every skater he's ever coached better. And that's from my perspective. That's from my teammates' perspective, and many, many other countries he's coached. His downside is he doesn't do well with authority. So he is truly his own person. He just believes that it has to be done this way, whether there's rules or not, and this is the way it's going to be done. Now, that's easy, but it's not so easy when you have federations that need to follow rules and so forth. And so what's happened over Pete's career is that after a couple years, he'll go in, he'll get hired by a national federation from whatever country it is, and he will make these skaters better, and he'll make them strong, and they do very well. And after 2 to 3 years, somehow Pete is gone because he doesn't follow the rules, because the federations just can't handle him. So that is that character. So I'm the other character, which as you said, Avi, in the intro, I'm the youngest of 9 kids. My dad was a police officer, 2 brothers were cops, 3 brother-in-laws, nephews, cops. Like, I just was brought up to follow rules, and not in a very super strict way, but these are the rules, and they're there for a reason, right? And so I'm sort of that guy. I like to have fun, don't get me wrong, but within bounds, within limits. And so my sitcom, if you will, would be titled, and I'm stealing it, but how many times have titles been used again? Would be The Odd Couple. and Pete and I would be, coaching, or let's say we coached the younger generation, and it would all be things that have happened. Literally, for instance, Pete, the Olympic Games, he's out there on the ice coaching me and our team, but of course we're all wearing USA and our uniforms and so forth, and Pete's got a jean jacket on. He's on the ice coaching us with a jean jacket, and is just his way of being a rebel, I guess. But again, I love him to death. I always will. So I just thought it would be a fun road trip. And if it were a sitcom of sorts, it would be The Odd Couple. It would be, us doing press conferences and Pete saying whatever he says and me kind of cringing and then having to follow up and saying, this is what we really mean. Things like that. It's just, it makes me laugh thinking about it, because he will be forever, one of the most important people in my life. And yet he's rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. But again, I love him like a brother / father, and I always will. But this was a tough one, but that's kind of what I came up with for this first question.
All right, imagine this. Imagine you've set the coordinates. The old DeLorean from Back to the Future is ready to go. You know where you're going. You know when you're going to. But here's the catch. You're already in history. You're somewhere in the past, anywhere. Which historical figure would you like to have accompany you to visit someone who's no longer alive in present time? Who will you both be visiting? When and why? There's always historical figures around us. And in this case, they're right there in the physical sense. Mike and Dan will select one historical figure to accompany them on a very important voyage. They will be visiting someone that meant a lot to them at any point in their life. They could be visiting a father, friend, brother, child, uncle, grandparent, teacher, anyone. They could be visiting them when they were children, adults. They have the time machine. Mike and Dan. Which historical figure accompanies you on this trip? Why did you select them? And B, who, where, and when will the two of you be visiting? And why? At what point in your life?
They may or may not know out there. You contact us, and we get about a week these questions, and they're great questions, and they require thought and honesty and everything. So I got these questions the same time Mike did, and I'll tell you my answer. The person that the historical figure I chose was also Jesus Christ. Kind of as Mike said, look, I was never one of those athletes to finish and say to the camera, praise Jesus and do all this. I have my own way of doing that, and that's personal. I can do that. I just never felt, and so what I'm saying to you is don't judge us one way or another for our beliefs. Okay, so I'll start with that. But I chose Jesus Christ because many of you know, many of you don't know, I guess. The person that we would visit would be my sister Jane. Just a year prior to my second Olympic Games, 1988, Jane is the youngest of my 5 sisters. She was diagnosed. She just had her third daughter. She was diagnosed with leukemia, and she fought hard, and she lost her battle. And just coincidentally, it was on the very same day of the race that I was favored to win gold in the Olympic Games in 1988, 500 meters. I, along with my family, decided to race that day. It didn't go the way we or any of us had planned. I won the world championship 7 days before, 1 week before, and I fell that night. I fell again 4 days later in the 1,000 meters, and it didn't happen. And but that's not, the story. My point is, what I would go back to is with Jesus Christ, I would go back to that year when Jane was diagnosed. I would go back to visit her, and I would go back and ask him if he could make us understand, make her understand, and then make us understand why this might somehow be better than her, seeing her 3 baby girls grow up, who, by the way, have grown into amazing young ladies. Jane was 27 when she passed, 26 at diagnosis. Never got to see that. And my daughters are older than that now. And so I just, we all, maybe we don't really want to know the answers, but sometimes we do. It would just be interesting to ask. And so when I saw this question, that was the first thing that popped into my mind. When Mike started speaking, I thought, wow, okay, we are on the same page here. And so that would be who I would choose. That would be who I would visit. And maybe there are no answers. We may never find out. I just hope and pray to him that that she's better off, because she missed a darn good life here, and so we hope it's better.
But for you guys, being able to talk so openly about people you love is great. But how great is it to know that there's footage and there's interviews and there's documentation of how much love you gave them when they were here? And Dan, the way you would talk about your sister way before she was diagnosed with leukemia in '87, like the way you would always revere your siblings, like that's the beauty of it. So you love them in life. I would always tell my students, if no one's ever around to witness anything you've done, would you still do it? And you guys would wholeheartedly do it, and did do it, without the cameras, without the pomp and circumstance, because you guys are real. And that really speaks together.
But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. I appreciate you having me, and you as well for bringing up such a great, thoughtful topic.
Thank you so much, guys and gals and pals, for enjoying this video and watching it. If you love the content, if you're enjoying it, please like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to our channel, and make sure that you know that we know that the new network is on the rise. Thank you for being who you are.